So today we are celebrating the appearance day of Lord Vamana Dev, and also we are also today is also a very auspicious day, appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami. So we will try to sing the Dasavatar Stotra, and then we try to hear some. We try to hear about Vamana Katha and then some profound instructions from Vamana Katha. And if there is time, we will try to discuss about Srila Jiva Goswami. Otherwise, today evening we will have a separate class on the glories of Jiva Goswami and specifically his teachings and his contributions. प्रलयपयोधिजले धृतवानसि वेदम् विहितवहित्रचरित्रम् अकेदम्. Can play one more kartal. Akedham केशवधृत मीन शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. क्षितिरिह विपुलतरे तिष्ठति तव पृष्ठे धरणिधारण किन चक्र गरिष्ठे. Give the book to him. Give the book to him. केशवधृत कूर्म शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. दीश हरे वसति दशन शिखरे धरणी तव लग्ना शशिनि कलंक कलेव निमग्ना. केशवधृत शुकर रूप जय जग जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. हरे तव कर कमल वरे नखमद्भुत श्रृंगं दलित हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगं. कमलवरे नखमद्भुत केशवधृत नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे 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 चलयसि विक्रमणे भलिमद्भुत वामन पदनक नीरजनित जन पावन केशवधृत वामन रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिरमये जगदपघत पापं स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम् पापं केशवधृत भृगुपति रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे वितरसि दिक्षुरणे दिक्पति कमनीयं दशमुखमौलिबलिं रमणीयं कमनीया केशवधृत राम शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे दीश हरे वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभं हलहति भीति मिलित यमुनाभं अलहति भीति मिलिता केशवधृत हलधर रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निंदसि यज्ञ विधेर अहह श्रुति जातं सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् अहह श्रुति केशवधृत बुद्ध शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे 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 म्लेच्छ निवह निधने कलयसि करवालं धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालं म्लेच्छ निवह निधने धूमकेतुमिव किमपि केशवधृत कल्कि शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे 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 श्री जयदेव कवेरिदमुदितमुदारं शृणु सुखदं शुभदं भवसारं मुदितमुदारं शुभदं भवसारम् ओ केशवधृत दशविधरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे चलयसि विक्रमणे भलिमद्भुत वामन पदनक नीरजनित जन पावन चलयसि Bhalimadbhuta Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vamana Rupa Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Vamana Jagadisha Hare Vedan uddharate jaganti vahate bhugolam udbhibrate Dhaityam dharayate bhalinchalayate shatrakshayam kurvate Paulastyam jayate halam kalayate karunyamatanvate Mlechan murchayate dashakriti krite Krishnaya tubhyang namaha Hare Krishna Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is a very auspicious day, the appearance day of Lord Vamana Dev and also Shri Jiva Goswami. Just now we sung the Dasavatar Stotra and Srila Jayadeva Goswami in his introductory verses to the Gita Govinda, he glorifies Vamana Dev. He says, Chalayasi Vikramane Bhalim Adbhuta Vamana. So what did Lord Vamanadev do? So very nicely summarizing. Chalayasi Vikramane. So he deceived. Chalayasi means he deceived. Vikramane by taking, although he asked for 3 small steps, but he took huge steps. Vikramane. So whom he deceived? He deceived Bhalim. Adbhuta Vamana. So the glorious, the most wonderful Vamana. The word Vamana means small or dwarf. So he deceived Bali by his massive steps, and by that what he did? Padanaka Nira Janita Jana Pavana. Padanaka Nira. So by the nails which is touching the tips of the universe, what happened? As a result of that, the nails from his lotus feet, Janita Jana Pavana. So then what happened? The Ganges, that actually the water that flowed in became the Ganges. So he allowed the transcendental water to flow in. So such a great Lord who is Keshava, Dhrita, he accepted the form of Vamana, and all glories to him. So that is what is the glorification of Lord Vamana. And also it's very nice in this Dashavatara Stotra. There's one other amazing thing about the Dashavatara Stotra itself being glorified, that it is always the appearance days of the Lord, and his various activities are very auspicious for people who are suffering in this world, in this material world. So he says, Shrunu Shukadham Shubhadham Bhavasaram. He says that you please hear this Shrunu, give oral reception to this beautiful poetry of Jayadeva Goswami. Shukadam, why? Because it's going to give you happiness. Not only happiness, he says that Shubhadham, it's going to give you all auspiciousness. Because Anything in relation with the Lord about his birth, his activities, is always very auspicious. It is divyam. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvatah. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord's appearance, his activities are always auspicious, and it always meant to bring auspiciousness for the conditioned soul in the material world. Not only for the conditioned soul, it is always bringing auspiciousness for the liberated souls as well, and all those who are in the perfected stage. Always they are completely absorbed in relation to the pastimes of the Lord. So, in that context, we can understand. So, and what is this material world? Material world is dukkhalayam. There's always so many different kinds of miseries. Whatever maybe is our plans are thwarted. So always we are into some kind of anxieties and difficulties. But if we remember the Lord, if we remember His pastimes, if we remember His instructions and try to follow, that is always auspicious for that. So that we need to understand. And also in this song, we see in chronology the descriptions of the Lord's various avatars are described. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that the Lord kind of, the Darwinian's evolution theory. It's kind of, first it was Matsya, then it is Kurma, then it is, then what is Varaha, then Nrsimha, then comes Vamana. Vamana is fifth. So, from fish, and then from fish, then there is a gradual evolution. Of course, the Lord's form, his activities are so beautiful. In the way, in whatever form he comes, it's all attractive and it's all beautiful. So that is a description given. And also you can see, Vamana is a very small boy. Nobody could imagine that he's going to do such an activity. Yet he was very beautiful. He was all attractive, and everybody thought that, oh, he could be my son. Of course, just now we are hearing about the pastimes of the Krishna killing Putana, how Ratnamala was captivated by his beauty. Not only that, so many others were also completely, they were stunned by seeing the beautiful form of Vamana. So he was so attractive. And so then we can see the next avatar. Then Parashuram, he was very soft here, and then he was very violent by nature, very strong. And then we also see Ram, who can also be very violent, but then he was very sober and noble and peaceful. So like that, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains about some gradations of the avatars. Of course, we are not in any way favor of this Darwinian bogus theory, but here he's giving some insight into that. So that's a point. Now, this Vamana lila, if you see, the Lord, he comes, he establishes dharma. That's what the scripture says. Gita says, the Lord comes to establish dharma, and he is there to protect his devotees, and then kill the non-devotees or kill the demons. But then again, one very significant thing we see here, that the Lord always likes to glorify his devotees. It's something that is his nature, that is his Bhakta Vatsalya. He's very much affectionate to his devotees, and always he wants to put his devotees in the forefront. Although the devotee always wants to glorify the Lord in any situation, that is the principle of pure devotion as well. But on the other hand, the Lord, we will see with some of the activities of Lord Vamana, how he wanted to really serve his devotee Bali. But then again, we can see every one of us know the story. Just to recap, so Lord Vamana, he wants to protect the Devas. So he knew that Bali was, just to know the background of Bali was the grandson of whom? Prahlad Maharaj, yes. So Virochana was the son of Prahlad. Although he was more of an asura, although you can call that Prahlad also comes under the Daitya, but although he was coming under the demoniac family, but he was a pure devotee of the Lord. But then Bali was more of a devotee of the Lord. So he heard quite some instructions from Prahlad Maharaj, and always in his heart, devotion to Vishnu was always present. But then, as a king, he did his duty. He went and then conquered all the planetary systems. He defeated the Devatas. So now the entire universe, the whole universe is in his control. Everybody is in his, everybody is subjugated to him. Everybody had to become submissive to Bali. So that is the situation. So he did activities according to the Varna and Ashrama. He was performing his activities. But then the Devatas were in trouble because they lost the battle. They could not anymore um, rule rule their kingdom. So obviously they took shelter of the Lord, and the Lord now devised a plan by which he could get back the lost kingdom to the Devatas. So the Lord appeared as Vamana. So there's so many beautiful descriptions are given in the Bhagavatam, how he appeared, how he was looking so beautiful. His appearance was, he was like as effulgent as the sun. The Brahma Tejas from him was so attractive. Everybody was stunned by, although he was a small boy, he was very attractive. And we can now sometimes see also. So we can see that the Lord, whatever is in the Lord, the Bhagavatam says, Janmat yasya ataha. Everything, whatever that we see in the Lord is a reflection that we see here in the material world. Sometimes we can see small boys when they are, because they are innocent, they are pure, and that reflects, it obviously we get attracted by that. So similarly, when what we can imagine when the Supreme Lord comes as a small boy, how attractive he will be. He was captivating everyone. And then the Bhagavatam explains that all the great demigods, they all wanted to, whatever the best thing they had, they shared, they gave it to the Lord. So that's one thing. So whatever best thing that we have, what is it that we have? Everything that He has provided, the Lord has provided, and we take proprietorship of that, and we are such rascals. We don't want to give it back to the Lord. We don't want to, at least to start with, thank the Lord that, oh my dear Lord, you provided all these things. So this is something interesting. In the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we can see Krishna introduces the concept of system of authority for those who are very much engrossed in sense gratification. I want to satisfy my senses. The Indriya Pradhanam. And that means that the senses are the most important thing. This is what I want to satisfy. Okay, you are very conditioned. So gradually, in the Gita, Krishna is introducing, you understand the purpose of this material world, why the world is created, and there is authority system. There is a God, there is a demigod, and there is a nature. Nature is being controlled. So you are being controlled. So you try to understand this, at least theoretically, accept the authority system, and then show your gratitude to those authorities. If you just little bit think about it, there is sun, air, water, so many natural things we get. We don't even think that we are using this, and are we paying any tax for that? God is providing everything. We don't even think about it. We are using it for, taking it for granted. Like anybody thinks, now I'm speaking, you are hearing, we are breathing, we are inhaling the air, and then we are exhaling the air. We don't think about it. It just happens like that. So God is very merciful. He's providing all these things. And so Krishna introduces that. Then he explains the point that it's something, sometimes it's very, we can be very thoughtful for someone to think that, okay, I'm using all this. Am I not a thief? Exactly what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. You're using all the resources given by the Lord, but you don't have any gratitude. You don't even think about it. So Krishna exactly says that you are a thief. So we should not be thieves. So Krishna says that accept the authority system that is set by me, and in that way you enjoy. He says that, okay, you want to enjoy, you enjoy, but at least accept the authority system. By that, gradually you are in the path of purification. So this is something from the Vamana pastime. We can see that all the demigods at least acknowledged, and then they wanted to contribute whatever best they had from their side to Lord Vamana. Although they had their vested motive, they wanted back the kingdom, but still, at least acknowledging it. So that's at least a first step in God realization. At least start acknowledging, thank the Lord for what He has given. So that's something we need to think about. So then we can see then as the Lord came in front of Bali, so he had his own kamandala. So and then it is explained that how he came as a very small boy. And he had a very simple umbrella. The umbrella was made with the bamboo sticks. He had a short umbrella, and then he came, and it was sometimes if you turn around the umbrella, it acts like a basket. He may collect some what do you call dhan from that. It was like that. So the Lord came like that. So Bali, as usual, saw he was an attractive young boy. So what do you want, my child? So here, Vamana was speaking simple philosophy. He said that I just want uh, 3 pace of land. That's all. Just uh, what my 3 steps of food can cover. That much is enough for me. Then Bali saw that. What are you asking? You are coming in front of the emperor of the entire world, and you are asking for 3 steps of land. This is not befitting for you. You ask any portion of the universe, whatever you want, I'm ready to give you. So then Vamana said that no, it's good for Brahmanas to be contented with whatever they have. This specific section alone, a few verses I wanted to share right from Bhagavatam. It's very instructive because for us in the material world, we are all struggling with our senses and mind. And specifically in the current modern world, everywhere there is so much of advertisements, there is so much of promotion of various products, there is so much of promotion of various plans. I mean, I'm speaking about plans for loans, plans for buying land, so many different plans. It appears like, okay, oh, they have made it very simple, they have made your life very easy, you can enjoy. But actually, all the things that the modern thinkers or the modern so-called industrialists or whatever politicians and everyone, they are actually very professionally, they are trying to cheat the people, cheat the common man by trying to increase the greed within the conditioned souls. That's what is happening. So here, Vamana Dev, he gives a very nice instruction. So here he says that, so when Bali spoke like this, that, come on, you please ask me something more. This is not befit, you can't come and ask me like this. I am ready to give, you are a Brahman, I am ready to support you for the rest of your life. So like that, in that mood, Bali was speaking. Then Vamana is giving a very nice instruction, which if we can just really think about this and try to understand a portion of it, really our life will really change a lot. So he says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Yavanto Vishayah Preshtas, Trilokyam Ajitendriyam. And he says, Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Pratipurayitum Nirpa. So very nice point. He says that Yavanta, so as far as possible, the objects of sense enjoyment, Yavanta Vishayaha, the objects of sense enjoyment is concerned, these objects of sense enjoyment can never satisfy a person. So this is we can say theoretically we can say, but it's so difficult for us to digest it and put it. But it's good. We need to understand this. Otherwise, we'll be continuously baffled in this material world. Continuously, we'll be cheated again and again, again and again. In different lifetimes, we are being cheated. Current lifetime, we are being cheated. So he says that specifically. He makes the point that, Trilokyam. So he says that, so the sense objects cannot satisfy a person. Ajita Indriyam, he uses the word Ajita Indriyam, means for one who has not controlled his senses. So whatever you may provide, the best of the things in these 3 worlds, that cannot satisfy such a person. So a devotee has his understanding. Whatever that we see in this world is provided by the Supreme Lord, or he is in possession. The very first verse of the Ishopanishad gives us this understanding. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kasya svidhanam. So the Ishopanishad says that first of all it reminds us, hey, don't forget, everything belongs to the Lord. When we come to the material world, immediately we become possessive, right? Everything belongs to me. We function like this. But we have to remind ourselves that everything belongs to the Lord. And not only that, and the Lord has provided us our quota. This is your quota. So be satisfied with your quota. Don't go and poke your nose on others' quota. So this much, if we can understand, then we will be contented people. There will be no problems. There will be no fights. There will be no dissatisfaction. Now we don't understand that. So then he goes on to explain this little bit more. So we will just see a few more verses. He says, Tribhi kramair asantushto dvipenapi na puryate navavarsha sametena saptadvipa varechaya. If I were not satisfied with 3 pieces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one of the 7 islands. So he was offering, ask me anything big. So he says, I will not be consisting of 9 varshas. Even if I possess one island, I would hope to get others. So this is interesting. So we get something, it appears like, okay, you got some salary, and then, you got some hike, and then still, oh, maybe, I should get a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, give me more, give me more. It just goes on and on and on. You cannot be happy with that. So he says that, yeah, you may give me one island, but then I will think that let me get more islands. So I don't want, he says. Sapta dvipadipatayo nripa vainyagayadayah artai kamair gatanantam trishnaya itina shrutam. So he says that we have heard that although powerful kings like Maharaja Prithu and Maharaja Gaya achieved proprietorship over the 7 dvipas, they could not achieve satisfaction or find the end of their ambitions. So he really speaks like a Brahmana, quoting from the Puranas and the previous histories. A small boy speaking very high and ideal philosophy. So Bali is watching. What is this boy speaking all this? Anyway, he's just blabbering something. So Bali was thinking like that. Okay, anyway, he's speaking something. So then he says, Yadrichaya upapannena santushto vartate sukam na santushtas tribhir lokair ajitatmo pasaditaihi. So he says that one should be satisfied with whatever he achieves by his previous destiny. For discontent can never bring happiness. A person who is not self-controlled will not be happy even with possessing the 3 worlds. He is reinstating the same point, but then again there is another point being reminded here in this verse. He says that yadrichaya. So that means yadrichaya means as offered. Prabhupada in his word to word, he says that as offered by the supreme authority according to one's karma. So now you see the whole worldview has changed. Everybody is pushing you that, come on, you go for it. You can. You are talented. You have the confidence. You have the zeal in you. You can go for it. So you can see so many innocent people who have been very, very satisfied doing little farming. They were having small cottage industries. Whatever simple things they were doing in the village, many of them, they have come to the cities, hoping that they can make their son engineers, they can make their son rocket scientists, so many things, and they took so much of loan after loan, and they have given their profession, and they have come to the city, and they are really suffering and struggling. But this simple idea that, okay, we are in a particular situation according to our karma, and whatever the Lord has provided us, let us be contented with that, but let us work for the real goal of life. So this has to be preached a lot. And this comes by hearing the scriptures from the bona fide authorities. So this is a very profound instruction here. So Vamana Dev is giving, and so Bali heard all this. Now, so Bali is thinking, okay, okay, this is what the boy wants, so I will abide by it. Okay, I will give you. So then Shukracharya, who is fully aware what is going on, so he says that, oh, this is not good. He knows exactly who has come. Vishnu has come. He has disguised himself as Vamana. So he is advising Bali that, come on, you don't speak about promise and all those things. So Bali says that I have promised, I am going to do that. So then this is the, a Pandit can sometimes do anything. You can find loopholes in the scriptures. Loopholes in the scriptures means scriptures that are, it's like, Vedas are like a vast ocean. It's like a big forest. You can find so many quotes, so many things, and you want to prove something, you can find some kind of a quote and pramana to establish your point, but that's not the attitude with which we should approach the scriptures. Krishna says in the Gita, in the 5th chapter, he says that the whole endeavor with body, mind and words, one should take up the process for the purpose of purification. Anybody remembers the verse? It's coming to my mind. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyair api. Then yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. So he says that kayena manasa vacha. So with body, mind and words, kayena manasa vacha, kevala indriya ravi. With body, mind and words, what one should do, one should endeavor for the process of purification. Then he says that, then how did it go? Okay. Yogina karma kurvanti. So one should connect himself with the Lord. One should engage in activities simply for the purpose of purification. That means what? Our approach towards scriptures is not that what we want to accomplish. I want this. Do I find any references for this? That should not be that. What the scriptures say, what Krishna wants to communicate, what he says, how I have to mold myself according to that. So then we can make progress. So this is the underlying theme even in approaching scriptures or hearing from our guru. So that should be our attitude for the purpose of purification. So here Shukracharya had he had a vested interest that, if Bali is going to give everything to Vishnu, what is going to be my position? What's going to happen to me? So he is saying that, no, you don't give. This is not good. And he is quoting, he is giving references. There is nothing wrong in speaking lies. We can speak lies. And it is permitted in war situations, to get someone married. So like that, he is giving different quotes. And then this is the glory of here, Bali. Bali didn't give a fig for that. He said that, no, I have given a word, I'm going to stick to it. So then it is explained in some other Puranas. Then what happened? So every time he gives a word and he does, he also has a kamandala, and then he pours water. Okay. Yes, he has done it. So now what he did, Shukracharya, he became like a small insect, and he wanted to block the spot of the kamandala. So then it is explained that Lord Vamana Deva, he crushed, his eyes were crushed. This was on description given in another place. Anyway, the side point. So the point is that, so Bali, he gave himself to the Lord. He accepted. So then this is the point. The Lord deceived him. Now he said that yes. So with the first step, he covered the lower planetary system, and in the second step, he covered the upper planetary system. And the Lord is now asking, so come on, you said that he will give me. Where am I going to put the third step? So everybody is watching. The whole world is watching. Everyone is watching what Bali is going to do. So he gave everything, and then so this is the situation, exactly, where Ratnamala also was captivated. She thought that I want to become his mother. But then when she understood that Vamana is deceiving, is cheating, so then she had the envious nature. She wanted to kill him. So but Vamana, so he was. This is a very tough moment. One thing really to be appreciated was that although he has been so loyal to Shukracharya, in this particular situation, he gave up the advice of Shukracharya. He was very bold enough. He was not bothered that he may be cursed by Shukra, but he said that I have given the word. And as we discussed before, he is a devotee of the Lord. So what he did, he submitted himself to Vishnu. And see, for a Kshatriya specifically, he was playing a role of a Kshatriya. Anything they can sacrifice, they can give up anything. But for them, to give up honor is really worse than death. Krishna says in the Gita, isn't it? But still he didn't bother about that. Let what happen. I'm not bothered. So let me give myself to. So he told the Lord, my dear Lord, put your feet on my head. I will submit myself. So that was very glorious. So Lord was very pleased, and the Lord put his feet on him, and then he immediately called Garuda, and also he was tied by the ropes of Varuna, and then he was sent to Sutala. So this is what happened. But now the interesting part in this is that actually the Devatas were happy, but they were happy because they're going to get back their kingdom. But the Lord and Bali, they were the ones who were more happy. The Lord was very happy because he saw the great surrender of his devotee, and Bali was very happy because he felt that what is there in my life? This is the greatest opportunity. What more benefit I can get than giving myself to my Supreme Lord? So the Acharyas are glorifying about the principle of Atma Nivedana. So now this is a very important instruction for us. Atma Nivedana, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his songs, he is pointing out I just remember in one of the songs, in the songs of Sharanagati, I think. He's pointing out that Atma Nivedana Tuva Pade Kori Hoinu Paramasuki. Dukkha Dure Gelo Chintana Rohilo Chaudike Ananda Deki. So he says that Atma Nivedana Tuva Pade Kori. So if someone gives himself completely to your lotus feet, what happens? Hoinu Paramasuki. How's that? Is that he becomes the most happiest person in this world. So generally, that's what we think, no? Like, no, okay, if I give up everything, how can I be happy? But that's what is the whole point. The more we give ourselves to Krishna, the more we become happy. The more we hold ourselves something with us, then that causes the bondage and that causes the anxiety for us in this material world. So that's what we need to learn. So Bali gave himself completely. Then he says that, this is very interesting. What happens when someone gives himself completely to Krishna? Then he says, Duke dure gelo. The difficulties go far away. Then he says, Chintana rohilo. No more worries. Absolutely no worries anymore. Then he says, Chaudike ananda deki. This is very interesting. He says that in all four directions, what do you see? You see happiness everywhere. So it's really, this is what our acharyas have come to give. That they are just pointing out about the glories of pure devotional service. So that's the whole point. Bali had so much of plan, but all the plans were thwarted by the Lord. So now this is the question, that we may have so many plans, but the Lord will have a different plan for our own purification. So many things will happen in our life. But are we ready to take shelter of Krishna in those tough situations? That's the question mark. That is why we are here with the association of devotees. We are trying to practice Krishna consciousness. Definitely there is going to be various kinds of tests in our life. So we should prepare ourselves to submit ourselves to the Lord. So although it was a very embarrassing situation for Bali, but he did not worry about anything because he understood that he is eternal servant of Krishna. So for us, it's very difficult to perceive the situation. What is it that we may be rich, we may have a land, we may have 2 flats, we may have so much of gold or whatever. But think of the position of Bali, who was the emperor of the entire universe. Everything was under his control. But within a second, he just gave up everything and he completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord. And the Lord was so pleased by this act. So that's the whole point. Yeah, so this is again, the whole point is that in devotional service, this is another point that we need to understand, that when we take up to devotional service, the Lord has different plans for different devotees. So there is a principle that the Lord may take away our material possessions. So that's why we have discussed this point many times. Sometimes people are afraid of keeping Krishna with the fruit, that he may take away all the possessions. But the acharyas are here on the other hand saying that, my dear Lord, take away everything. I want to give myself also. That's why always we speak the point. Okay, I have given some donation. I have given that. Okay, the Lord wants you. He wants the soul. He wants you to engage in His service. So that's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also is saying he sings that Manasa Deho Geho Jo Kichu More Arpiluttuva Pade Nanda Kishore. My mind, my body, my words, my wife, my children, everyone, my dear Lord, I want to engage in your service. So this is the principle of pure devotion. So in practice of pure devotion, are we ready to sacrifice ourselves? So we can see Bali also, the name signifies sacrifice. So he sacrificed himself, sacrificed everything. So this is what pure devotional service demands. The Lord demands sacrifice of everything. But then, if we sacrifice everything, what happens? This is what we get, that happiness in all 4 directions. So that's a key point to be understood. So another thing also that we learned, that is, we may become a pauper, we may be humiliated, but then are we ready to take shelter of Krishna, or are we going to chastise Krishna, or then say why the Lord did like this, did like that? So that's the thing. Then few other things I just wanted to share about the glories of Lord Vamana and Bali, how they are very much intimately related. From some descriptions from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where one of the pastimes it is seen that how the Lord is so much affectionate to Bali. So as we heard that the Lord sent Bali to Sutala, and also we can see there in Sutala he was given the position to rule over Sutala for quite some time. And also we learned the Lord Also, we can see for with Dhruva Maharaj, the Lord allowed him to rule the kingdom, although he did not want all those things. So, the Lord has a plan, and the Lord has different plans for different devotees. So, Bali accepted that. And what is it that the Lord was doing for Bali? The Lord came as a, something like a security guard in front of the Bali's kingdom. He was standing outside and he was watching, and then he was trying to help Bali from various intruders and other demons and like that. So in relation to that, there was once a pastime that happened that Ravana was moving around all the places. So once he came to Sutala, then what what Vamana, what he did as a small boy, he gave a kick with his feet. And then it is said that Ravana, who was supposed to be the most powerful person, he flew and fell down on the other side of the universe. So this was a description that was given. Then, so this is right there in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that particular section I would like to read, and we will discuss a little bit about it. So this is when Narada Muni is going to different places and then he is glorifying about various devotees. We know in the Bhagavatam, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that Narada Muni is glorifying different devotees, and he goes to different devotees and he says that you are the greatest devotee of the Lord. There is no one who can be greater than that, and he glorifies the different positions. So he glorifies about Prahlad Maharaj. So then while glorifying about Prahlad Maharaj, he says that not only you are glorious, your grandson is even more glorious than you. So like that he glorifies. So this is the verse, that's the context in which we are discussing now. Bho Vaishnava Sreshta Jitas Tavayeti Kim Vachyam Mukundo Bhalinapi Nirjitaha Pautrena Dhaiteya Ganeshavarena Te Samrakshito Dwari Tava Prasadataha. So he says that what the Lord was doing, Sri Narada then said, "O best of Vaishnavas, why should I say that Lord Mukunda has been conquered only by you? Your grandson Bali, chiefs of the Daityas, has also conquered him. By your grace, Bali keeps the Lord as his doorman." So this is the, this happened to Bali, that the Lord is there as a doorman just because of the great mercy that Bali had from Prahlad. So now in discussing this, so Prahlad, he explains a point about the great, actually this is right there in the Bhagavatam, and this is from the chapter 8th canto, chapter 23, verse 6. This is the verse, it says, Nemam virincho labate prasadam na shrir na sarva kim utapareye yannos asuranam asidurgapalo vishvabhivandyair abhivanditangrihi. So he says that, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are universally worshipped. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva worship your lotus feet. But then he says, yet although you are such a great personality, you have kindly promised to protect us, the demons. I think that such kindness has never been achieved. He says, Na Shrir, Na Sharva, Kim Utapareye. So he says that has never been achieved even by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. What to speak of other demigods or common people. So he's glorifying how the Lord is so merciful and he's ready to protect even the demons because Bali was right there. So now Srila Sanatana Goswami gives references about an amazing incident that took place in Dwarakadam, in the glories of Dwarakadam. He is giving some references. He says from the Prahlad Samhita of the Skanda Purana, this incident is mentioned. So once Durvasa Muni was very much worried because Dwaraka was under attack. So he wanted some help from Lord Vamana. So he came all the way to Sutala, and then he wanted Vamana to help. So that's the context. He says that he was in great distress, so he came to the Daitya Raja. So he came and then asked the Lord, my dear Lord, you come and help us with this in this situation. Dwaraka is, you have to defend Dwaraka. So now the answer that is given by the Lord is responding. So you see, here in this verse, from this verse we can understand how much Lord Vamana is affectionate to Bali. He says that, Paradhinosmi Viprendra Bhakti Kritosmi na anyata Baler Adesha Karicha Daityendra Vasho Gohyaham. Tasmat Prartaya Viprendra Daityam Vairochanam Bhalim. Asyadheshat Karishyami Yad Abhishtam Tavadhuna. So he says that Paradhinosmi Viprendra. Oh, great Brahmana. Paradhino. He says that I am not independent. Although the Lord is independent, completely independent, he says that I am not independent. And then he says that Baler Adesha Karicha. Na Anyata. He says that I am already purchased by Bali. Bali's pure devotion. I am purchased. I am under his control. And he says that what he says? Adesha Karicha. He says that whatever Bali says, I have to do that because I am under his control. Then he says that, so Tasmat Prartaya Viprendra Daityam Vairocha. So he says that, okay, better you go to Bali and then you ask him what I should do. So he just puts the ball in Bali's court and he says that I'm under his control, I cannot do anything. So you please go to that person. So then, So then, okay, Durvasa all the way, he comes to Bali and then he informs Bali about what Lord Vamana said. And then here is the response from Bali to him. So Bali says, Yad bhavyam tad bhavatu te yad janasi tata kuru brahma rudradi namitam naham tvakshe padadvayam. So he says that Brahma rudradi namitam, the great personality Brahma, Shiva, namitam, they are all, what they are doing, they are all worshipping whom? Padadvayam, that two lotus feet they are worshipping. So how can I give up the lotus feet? So yad bhavyam tad bhavat. So actually what happens is that Durvasa, he comes in front of Bali and then he says, I am fasting. I am going to fast till something happens. So he says, whatever may go in your mind. So he says that yad bhavyam tad bhavatu te. So whatever may be your intention with which you have come about, whatever you have in your mind, you do that. But I am not going to budge. I am not going to give up my Lord to your to Dwaraka. So I just related this just to mention the point that the Lord is so much affectionate to his devotee, and to that devotee he will give anything and everything. And so it is not so difficult to purchase the Lord. To purchase the Lord means difficult means to get the favor of the Lord. It's not very difficult. The Lord says that by your simple endeavor to please me, I am pleased. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadahang bhakti upartam ashnami prayatatmana. Simply by offering me water, leaf, flower, fruit with devotion. Twice he says, with pure heart and with devotion. If a devotee offers, the Lord is purchased by him. Also we can see when Advaita Acharya, we see this photo, we just remind that Advaita Acharya is worshipping the Lord Shalagrama. So it said that simply what? Just offer tulasi jala matrena, it said. So just offer this tulasi water, then the Lord is very pleased. So to please the Lord, it is not very difficult. So sometimes we also hear Prabhupada says that bhakti is very easy. Same time bhakti is very difficult. How is that? So bhakti is very easy for the devotees. Bhakti is very difficult for demons. That means what? So when our mind is not subjugated, our mind becomes very complicated, then we don't want to submit to the process of Krishna consciousness. But when the mind is subjugated, then the whole process of Krishna consciousness becomes very blissful. So that's what we can, let's say there are so many lessons from this entire pastimes that we can remember. Some few things already during the class we discussed. One point is that we can see the Lord, which we know this is one of the amazing potency of the Lord. The Lord may come in any form. So he's a small boy, but he's capable of doing anything that we see in his various incarnations. Although he's very small, he can become very big. So that is his potency. So we should not look at the Lord as an ordinary human being. So that is one. He remains always powerful. He does not have to do meditation. He does not he does not have to go through a course. He can be very powerful. So that's one thing. Then another thing that we discussed, that how we have to, whatever that we may have within our strength, within our capacity. In fact, our attitude should be more than our capacity. We should try to give ourselves to the Lord. And we see all the demigods acknowledging the Lord is the proprietor. He is the owner of everything. And then they offered their, whatever gifts they had, they offered it to them. So that is very good. So what is the best offering that we can do is, we can offer ourselves by trying to please the Lord and his pure devotees. So that's one thing. And yeah, uh, yeah, that we already discussed, that we need to be satisfied with whatever the Lord is providing us, and that will always keep us contented in devotional service. So yeah, we may be in a difference. Somebody may be talented in various ways, but then also this point we should not forget that every jiva has got a very unique way in which they can please the Lord. The way in which one jiva can please the Lord, another jiva cannot. So the Lord is actually, that is what the Lord is looking. That's why the Lord is actually in great distress, because He wants every jiva to come back to his constitutional position by engaging in His service. So that we can remember, and then there's no need for us to be envious. So just be contented with whatever we have. But like just a couple of days back, we were singing this song Prabhu Tava Pada Juge. In that song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that um, I have takes on a very humble role, and then he says that no, I have a great desire for enjoying in sense gratification, but I need to have more desire to engage in your lotus feet. He says in your service. He says that. So our whatever may be our situation, so we should have that great desire to please the Lord. That should be our attitude. That's one thing that we have to learn from this. Um, then again, a very important, we cannot be sentimental in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So one may be practicing Krishna consciousness for quite some time, but if tomorrow morning someone comes up with a new philosophy, sorry, we cannot accept that. If it is not in line with the Guru Parampara, if it is not abiding to the lotus feet of Vishnu and his devotees, then we may have to reject that idea. We cannot be sentimental and then go on with the same person who is now coming up with deviant philosophy. So that we see Bali was not sentimental. So he stuck to the scriptures and to the words of the Mahajanas, that we learn from that. Yeah. Then another important instruction, which may be in devotional service, there is no question of speaking lies, but then we are trying to also educate this right from young age with the children, with the boys who are studying in the Gurukul and like that. Not only for elders, for everyone. Here, there is a right there. There is in the Bhagavatam, there is a verse where Bali, in response to Shukracharya's advice, he says that Naya Satyat Parodharma It Ovacha Bhur Iyam Sarvam Shodum Alam Manye Rite Lika Param Naram. So he says that there is nothing more sinful than untruthfulness. Because of this, Mother Earth once said, I can bear any heavy thing except a person who is a liar. So that's a point. So we should be honest and straightforward in Krishna consciousness. So of course, also in some of the purports and commentaries, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada speaks about speaking a lie for a higher purpose. Of course, that cannot be misused. So one should know when to use that, when one can speak a lie. But in general principle, that should not be entertained at all. So this is again another thing that we have to learn. And so if you are straightforward and simple, then Krishna consciousness becomes very blissful. Otherwise, it becomes very complicated and we have to suffer. Then another point that I made a note was for a person, it could be any time. All auspiciousness could happen the moment we turn ourselves towards the Supreme Lord. If we just turn our mind towards the Supreme Lord, whatever we may have done in the past, the Lord accepts. The Lord accepts any person from any background in whatever that he might have done. But if he gives himself to the Lord, then the Lord he accepts the devotees. That is the merciful nature of the Lord. That's what we just discussed a couple of days back. That great compassionate nature of the Lord. Then another thing that we see also, that in the modern days, you can see how Shukracharya, although Bali was very loyal to him for a long time, but then he became so much upset with Bali. Shukra became upset with Bali. We can also see in the modern days, where there is no pure devotion, where there is no loyal relationship between the disciple and the Guru can become upset with the disciple, or the disciple can thwart the Guru if the Guru does not dance according to the tunes of the disciple. So that's another thing that we can learn here from this pastime. That's one thing. Yeah, there could be so many lessons that we can learn from this particular pastime. But then one pleasant thing that we can always remember is that the Lord is very affectionate to his devotees, and also the Lord can be. We may think that we are super intelligent, we are super smart, but the Lord is more intelligent and more smarter than any one of us in this world. So he always has a plan, and he can deceive all our ideas, and he can come up with a plan, and then just to bring us closer to him, he may perform that activity. So there may be some people who are maybe foolish, who may say that, oh, how can Vamana do like this? It's not proper. But the Lord did this just to help his devotee to come closer to him. But then also we can see on the other hand, the same criticism is done by the gopis, isn't it? So in the Krishna book we can see also in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, where the gopis are actually pointing out that Krishna, um, you are the greatest deceiver. You constantly you deceived all the women. Not only that, when you came in Ram Lila, you cut the nose of Surpanaka, and then they also pointed out that as Vamana, poor Bali, what did he do? He gave everything to you, and then you cheated him. So like that, they're criticizing. But that's a different story. But for us, we need to understand that this act is so, although it appears very crooked, actually it is the acharyas are explaining that what is the greatest sweetness in this Vamana Leela is this the way in which he deceived. He is very beautiful, that is glorified, and also the way he deceived Bali, that is also very much glorified. So these are some of the points, and we will stop here. So maybe in the evening we will have a class. We will discuss about the glorious activities of Srila Jiva Goswami, and also we would like to speak about his various teachings. Specifically, just some kind of a little bit of overview about Srila Jiva Goswami's great contribution to the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. We will discuss today evening. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Vamanadev ki jai. Hare Krishna.